Hello everyone and welcome back. I've got another tutorial for you today for another 5x7 card. You may notice I do like this size. It's looking quite plain, isn't it? I've used the Sunflower Cottage papers by Knitwits. So use some of the papers and the toppers to make a vertical easel card with a pop-up sentiment or topper. So as you open it up, it actually slides forward and tucks behind there. So it's like an easel card, but stands up vertically. So in the video, I didn't quite finish it because I did forget to bring my foam tape for the stopper. So if you've got to the end of the video and you think what's happened, here's how it actually does look. Just some foam tape there. So yeah, so a 5x7 card, a vertical easel, with a pop-up mechanism for our topper or our sentiment, and then I've used the patterned paper with a border edge just to do out my liner, so my card insert, so I've got plenty of space to write there, but also have some papers without having to do any work here at all. Okay, so if you want to see how I made this, stay tuned and grab your cardstock, couple of papers and a topper, and let's get crafting. So to make the card today, what I've got is my piece of A4 cardstock. So I've got some black this time, and from the Sunflower Cottage papers by Knitwits, I've got two images here which will fit onto a 5x7 card. So you see that not quite the same size, because this one is going to be trimmed down and things, but just roughly 5x7 and something to work as a stopper. So I've chosen one of the buttons this time, and then a topper you quite like to fit inside. So let's start by making the card base. So it's just your regular 5x7 card. So we're going to cut it at 10 inches. By 7. So 10 by 7. Now this little strip here, you can cut it down to 1 inch, or you can just leave it as it is. The height isn't really that important. But if you have got a thin strip like this, what you can do is you can take some low tack tape and you can just tape it down on your 1 inch mark like that, press it down and cut. So that's a good way if you need some narrower strips and your trimmer will allow you to get in. And so I'm just going to cut these now at 2 inches. So that's my trimming done. So let's bring in my scoreboard. So I don't need that piece. So I've got my scoring tool. So I'm going to put the card in with a 10 inch across the top and just score it a 5. So that would be my regular just card blank for 5x7. But I want to make it an easel. So I'm going to, halfway between the 5 is 2.5. So I'm going to score there. So that is my card blank done. And now I'm going to take these pieces with a 2 inch across the top, score it half. So just in the middle. So if you haven't got a scoreboard, I think all of this you can just do by folding in half, fold in half, and then with your cardstock, a piece of card stuck to the back somehow, you're just going to fold in half. And then just fold this bit to the center as well. And so for this card, that would be your normal easel, but we're doing a vertical one, so it's going to go like that. Okay. So now let's bring in our papers. You can see how quick this one is. I think the thing that took me the longest was working out which two papers I wanted to use. So I'm going to come in here, and I've chosen one of the background papers which had an image down the right hand side, and I'm going to cut that. So for a 5-inch card, to layer it down and have a bit of a black border, I'm just going to go back 1/4 inch, so that's 4 3/4, or just go to the 5 and go back 1/4. And then trim off the excess on the bottom. So if it's going to be 7, if I go back 1/4 inch, it's now going to be 6 3/4. So this is now our back piece. Now, you know me, I like to tidy up my edges, so I'm going to just take some black distressing, some black soot, and I'm just going to ink the edge. Now this paper I thought was perfect for the inner, because when it's up, you're going to see any images down the right hand side, but it's also plain enough on the left to write your messages on. So you're going to write your greeting on that white piece, but also still see it. So alternatively, of course, you could just put a white piece of card down there and use a strip of patterned paper. But seeing as this was already made like that, why not use it? So I'm just placing that now onto my base. Just get my Teflon tool or your bone folder and squeeze it down. But straight away you can see why I chose that as an insert. And now I need 2 pieces to go onto here. Now this is now going to be up to you. So let's first just trim off that white excess. It didn't go over quite enough. Yeah. And trim off some from the top. Now it depends now if you want a gap down the middle. So if you don't, you're going to go to 4 3/4, which is 5 and back 1/4 inch. But I'm going to do it so that they mat and lay onto that panel nicely. So I'm going to cut it at 6 3/4. And then each of these now are in half. So that would have been 2 1/2. So I'm going to go to 2 1/4. If you didn't want the border, what you would do is 2 1 2 3/8. Now I want it so that I've got more of this paper here, so I'm going to cut this at the same 2 1/4. But I just wanted that right hand side so that I've got some sunflowers on both my panels like that. Now another temptation would be now just is to stick these straight down, but resist that for a second. So you can ink those edges ready. That's one. And 2. Because before we stick these down, you're going to work out where you want your sentiment. So our sentiment, or our topper, is going to have a bit of a pop-up element. So I want it sort of there. So just by eye, I'm going to know that I want my mechanism for it to be around there. Okay, so let's just take a little pencil and let's just mark where I want my mechanism to go. So let's put them to the side for now. So I'm just going to take those 2 bits I had earlier, I'll move that away so you can see. And I want them so that the folded bits are towards each other. So either use your strong tape or tape and glue. So I'm going to use tape and glue here. Just some double-sided tape there. And glue. And I'm going to do it so that the folded bit is facing our score line. So I'm lining it up with our score line and pressing it on. And then the other one, so again, turn it around this way, and the folded edges are going to face each other. So if I try and bring that towards you, so what you've got are those two bits sticking up like that. And now we can stick your panels down. So lift your mechanism up and place your paper down. And again, now if you had stuck your papers down beforehand, it's not a major issue. You're not really going to see it, but this bit where it just neatens it up a little bit, just in case somebody's trying to look to see how you made it, you're actually hiding all your workings. And the second one. So if you did cut your paper to 4 3/4 and just cut it in half, then you wouldn't have such a big black gap there. That would be the only difference. So now open up your mechanism. So just pushing the 2 flaps backwards. And I'm going to take my tape across both. And then put some glue on as well. And I'm going to place my topper on top. So now, as I open, your topper is going to pop out. So let's do it from the side. It's going to stand nice and proud on your easel. And then it's just a case of putting your stopper wherever you want it here. So how high you want it to come, or how far out you want it to come. So, as I said, I resized my button image to 1 inch. So I used Microsoft Publisher. You can use Word, whatever you want. Just change the size to 1 inch, and then use your 1 inch circle punch and punch out the circle. Then take that scrap from when we did our card blank and just do a couple of them. This is just going to add some strength to our stopper. So I'm just going to glue those 2 black circles together. Take some of the black soot again, just to emphasize the edge of the button. So I'm only just touching the tip of it. And now we're going to glue this onto our black circles. And then just take your 3D foam tape on the back and work out where you want it to come. So why don't we have it coming in line with that? No, because it's going to stick, the button's going to stick out a bit too much. There we go, about there. And then I would stick it down, but I have got my foam tape, so I will do that before I finish. So there we are, your vertical easel card, which will fit into a 5x7 envelope. Just going to lift it over, make it go flat like that. And as always, I'd love to see your versions of this card. I've kept it quite simple here, but you know, you can go to town with this one. But just for length of video, I've kept it nice and simple. So have a go and take a photo, and please join my Facebook group, Paper Crafting with Paul. I'll add a link to the description below. So if you can't see the description, just click the little arrow that points down, or show more, depending on what device you're on, so you can see the link and a link to the papers I've used as well. So yeah, join Paper Crafting with Paul, show me your versions, and give this video a thumbs up. And please, if you can hit that subscribe button as well, that would be great. So thank you very much, and happy crafting.